It's Monday. You know what that means.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of SAP Wrestling, the SAP Wrestling podcast that we have created for you, the wrestling fan. I am one of your hosts, 617. That man to my left over here is the one and only Puppet Master 2191. And today we are going over our Royal Rumble winner, the one and only other rated R superstar, Edge,
Edge.
aka Adam Copeland. Probably one of the biggest names in the WWE right now. Well, I wouldn't say right now, but overall in general,
I
more than likely.
I would even go as far as to say right now as well,
I mean, a
with
man
everything going
that
on.
had an illustrious career that was cut short due to injury, and then miraculously was cleared by the WWE to return last year at the Rumble,
hmm
and now still fighting. He did what, 3 matches last year, didn't he? Royal Rumble, and then he was at Mania, and then at the end of the year, wasn't it?
No, not end of the year. It was Mania, and then um Backlash, where they booked him and Orton greatest wrestling match ever, and that's where he ended up tearing his bicep.
Right. And then he was
It
basically
was
out
out. Yeah, was out
until this
for
year.
most of the year.
Right. He was out until this year, and then he made that nice little video package for the Royal Rumble, and then announcing that he would be entering the Rumble and that he would be winning the Royal Rumble, and there you have it. We have our Royal Rumble winner, and going on to WrestleMania to face the champion of his choice. Now, speaking of that, I did read something interesting the other day, something the WWE is toying with that many people may not like, but it may happen, it may come to be. Is they're toying with the fact that they could do an Edge versus Fiend WrestleMania match.
I hope not.
The only way that that would work is Fiend would have to be the world champion.
Yeah,
Because Edge is going to WrestleMania to face the world heavyweight champion. So the only way that would happen is within the next two pay-per-views, the Fiend comes back and takes the title from McIntyre. And I don't think they're going to drop the title from McIntyre for Mania. At least before Mania, I don't think they will.
no, I don't think they will either.
It'd be stupid for them to do that.
I think it's going to end up being Edge and Roman. Even though I'm not going to lie, I really like the sound of Edge and Finn Balor.
Yeah, that would be a good match, but
I really like the way that match would shape up more than I do Edge Roman Reigns.
yeah, I
Now,
mean, Edge Roman didn't really have much of a storyline behind it right now because I mean Roman's still feuding with Kevin Owens, I think.
yes, yes and no. So essentially, the way that is looking right now, thanks to SmackDown, Roman came out and Roman did his Roman thing,
Right.
Um,
Roman
and he wants to be acknowledged as the head of the table, this, that, and the other, and essentially demanded for Edge to come out at the beginning of the show. Edge wasn't even there yet. Roman had his, his Roman-esque
Right.
persona of I am the I am the main event. So by the end of the night, Edge will give his his decision.
So start the show with Roman calling out Edge, forcing Edge to decide who he's going to be facing right then and there. Pretty much. I mean, we could see that. It has potential. But I don't think it's going to be the potential that we want it to be, because I don't think that they're going to drop the title from Roman right now.
Okay.
Yeah. It could go anyway, really, with them when it comes to Edge and
like I said, now it was awesome seeing Edge interact with all three champions this past week.
Right.
It was really good seeing him on the NXT. Not even gonna lie. And he was in the middle of that face off with Finn Balor and Pete Dunne, who are the main event for TakeOver. Right. I think in a couple weeks, actually, maybe next week.
Now, does it specify which that it can only be the Universal or the World Heavyweight, or can he actually go after?
No, it's any singles champion in the company, any singles championship in the company, and it's the main event of Mania.
So we could possibly see the NXT title be defended at Mania.
Yes. Because I mean, you gotta stop and think. Charlotte Flair last year with her Rumble win,
right,
had picked Rhea
in
the NXT. So I do like that aspect, that they can challenge for, essentially they'll end up challenging for either any one of the three championship titles. Major titles.
Yeah.
Now, it was really nice watching Edge, Pete Dunne, and Finn Balor, and Edge kind of approached Pete Dunne, and he goes, I think his words were, you know how I feel about you. And he looks, he goes, you remind me a lot of a much younger me, both good and bad. And when he said that, Dunne kind of shrugs his shoulders, and right as he finishes talking to Dunne, he goes, and 10 years ago, kid, I would have shrugged my shoulders just like that too. And then he turned to Balor, and he looked at him. He said, "But I see you, and you're operating on this whole other elevation."
Right.
And then he looks and he goes, and that, pointing at the NXT championship, he goes, I've never had that, and that's intriguing.
He's never had the Universal title either, so there's two belts there's two titles he hasn't held.
Technically, he has.
When?
So you've got to think, the WWE Championship was the spinner belt.
Right.
The Universal Championship was Big Gold.
Oh, okay. So they just rebranded it then.
Yeah, they re-imaged and rebranded. And when they brought it back in Raw. So essentially, he has had the Universal Championship because, notable, he had the run with the big gold belt. He had the run with the spinner belt.
Right.
The only championship he has not had
is the NXT.
Is the NXT championship. And it's like he said, that makes that very intriguing to him. That's the whole reason I would like to see Finn Balor Edge. That way Edge can be one of the very few
to hold all three
that has held. In fact, he may be the only.
Right.
No. Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins has held all three. He's held NXT, Universal, and the World Heavyweight.
So yeah, he would be one of very, very few. In fact, I think they would be the only two.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Owens held the WWE Championship.
I don't think he did.
I know I think he had his was Universal.
Yeah, Owens was Universal. He hasn't held the WWE yet.
So I
It'll be
mean, like
interesting to see.
there's a couple people that could pull it off. Like, you know, Reigns has held both the main brand titles, but he hadn't held the NXT championship.
Right.
And everything, you know, out of everyone that they've got there, Owens would need to win the WWE championship to be in that category.
Right.
Edge and Roman would both need the NXT championship to be in that.
Right.
The only other person that I can think main roster right now that's held any of the connections, Shinsuke has the NXT. I don't think he's held the WWE championship.
No,
Either one of them.
I don't think he has.
So Shinsuke would essentially need to win both of them.
Right.
And the only other person actively right now would be Big E. Well, Big E would need both. Robert Roode would need both. McIntyre would only need one. So there's potential there as well.
Universal.
Yes.
That'd be a hell of a champion versus champion match.
And then Samoa Joe, if he ever gets in ring cleared again, would be the only other person that's held one of the three that could potentially fit to hold them all.
Right.
Well, Aleister Black, but they've got to bring him back to TV, so.
Yeah.
Besides that, well, no, there is one other person, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt would need the NXT title.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you've got 4 viable options that could essentially join Seth Rollins in that very, very elite club.
Right.
That would only need one of the other titles to fill that club. But honestly, I think it's going to be Edge and Roman, mainly because of the whole them pushing Roman like they are, which I don't have a problem with how they're pushing him. What I have the problem with is there's potentially a good story that could be told from that matchup. Will they tell it that way or not? I don't know. Or are they going to make it the Battle of the Spears? But at the same time, I potentially could not see you putting Edge and Roman against each other for Edge to lose the title.
Exactly.
Or for Roman to lose the title to Edge to give him that run to SummerSlam.
Because then,
and I'll be honest,
the title is what solidifies the family line right now. Because he's head of the table, he's the champion, and if you take the title away from him, that could disrupt that storyline.
Now, could you give Edge the NXT title and it run through SummerSlam? Yes.
You could.
Would it be a viable option? Yes. Why? Because Beth Phoenix is a commentator on NXT.
Right.
So her and Edge would be on the same schedule and being able to take care of the 2 kids.
Exactly.
So outside influences on why that would be a good match are there. But the other reason it would be a very good pick, there's so many young talents that are amazing that I think Edge could get in the ring to today in his shape, in his, in it, realistically, it is what it is. But he would hold his own, and he would make them he would take them to another level.
Right.
Like a picture putting him and Kyle O'Reilly in the ring together.
Right.
Picture putting him and Adam Cole in the ring together. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa.
Right.
Hell, put him and Damian Priest or him and Karrion Kross in the ring together.
Him and
Dexter Lumis.
You know, I mean, it's the storylines are all there. Plus, not to mention, it would give a good. Like, it would give them a chance to go from Mania to SummerSlam to build up a new
character,
a new champion,
a new challenger, a new champ. Yeah,
right. You know, kind of give Finn Balor a break from being number one and build somebody else up. You know, somebody that you wouldn't normally see in that highlight. Someone that might be ready to move to the main roster without actually moving them to the main roster. Give them a chance to see what it's like to be in the big show without technically being in the big show, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Give them a chance to fight on the main card for the NXT Championship against Edge, take the championship from Edge, and then put them back on NXT.
Yes.
You know.
Again, like, I see so many potential combinations. Not saying main roster guys is not there. I mean, you put him on Raw, he's got AJ Styles, a really good matchup with Jeff Hardy, even though we've seen that a few times.
Right. Give us something we
those two. Well, I mean, those two always put on great matches. Right. Him and McIntyre, not even going to lie, that would be a good one. Him and Matt Riddle would be good.
Right.
Put him in something with R-Truth would be absolute comedy. Like, it would be hilarious, but it would be very entertaining.
Right.
Then again, even staying on Raw, Edge and the Fiend, Edge and Bray Wyatt.
Right.
There's that possibility. Take him to SmackDown. You've got Big E, Sami Zayn, Cesaro,
right,
Sheamus.
I think.
I'm sorry. Sheamus is on Raw. Oh, another one on Raw that I overlooked. Keith Lee. I think Edge and Keith Lee would tear the fucking house down.
Yeah, I think they would too. But the thing is, you'd have to put a belt on all of them, and you'd have to really build a storyline up for them to get the title from whoever it is.
But I mean, that's the thing. If Edge was to get the title,
well, yeah, all right. After the title, so, it would be good.
So here's the thing: Mania rolls in, Edge challenges McIntyre. McIntyre drops the title to Edge. SummerSlam, we go ahead and just pre-book SummerSlam. McIntyre Edge. That's where McIntyre potentially gets the title back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that. We've got beginning. We've got end. We've got that booked. Middle, you've got what? 2-3
months.
Let's see.
SummerSlam's in September.
August.
So you've got May, June, July.
You got 3. So you got 3 pay-per-views. Keith Lee, Sheamus, or no. Save Sheamus for right before McIntyre. So right. Keith Lee, you could start with Keith Lee. Boom. There's your Keith Lee Edge. Or don't even start with Keith Lee. Start with AJ Styles.
Right.
Edge versus AJ Styles. Then you do Keith Lee. Edge versus Keith Lee. Then you do Edge versus Sheamus. And then you go into SummerSlam, Edge versus McIntyre.
Right.
Bam. And out of that, you've potentially made 2 legitimate main eventers. One who used to be a main eventer that's kind of fell off, being Sheamus. 2, you've turned Keith Lee into a main eventer.
Right.
That's a viable main eventer. you gave the dream matchup of Edge and AJ Styles, and you potentially solidify McIntyre with a now he's beat Edge and he's beat Orton, he's beat Lesnar, Orton, and Edge.
Right.
What more do you need for him to beat? He's now set. He's solid.
Right. There's a lot of potential in Edge.
Like, in all honesty, Edge coming in and being a full timer, as he's clearly stated he is going to do, you now have someone there that can make your future. Yes, give him one more title run while he still can.
Right.
I'm all for that. I agree with that. I co-sign, stamp, send it to whoever, you know. But you have someone who can take your talents that are on this upper mid card or have good potential. You put them in the ring with Edge, see if they can go. If they can, Edge can make them something.
Right.
Period.
Exactly.
The only other people that are capable of doing that, Bray Wyatt to an extent, Randy Orton, and as much as I hate to say it, John Cena.
Yeah. I mean, use this opportunity with Edge that you have him while you have him to help build the career of people who are less known and not being used as well in the company.
Now, you stop and you put him on SmackDown. You've got matches with Big E, matches with Daniel Bryan, matches with Chad Gable, matches with Cesaro, matches with, put him in there with Shinsuke, put him in there with Sami Zayn, give him Kevin Owens. Of course, you've got the Roman Reigns fight that's there.
Right.
Hell, put him in the ring with Otis and let Otis shine.
Right.
I mean, and there's more than I can name. Put Christian over there, team them up, put him in the ring with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Put him in the ring with Street Profits. Put him in the ring with these guys.
Yeah, the potential is endless.
You got to stop and think, especially with Christian being cleared and potentially being a full-time main roster guy.
Right.
Now you got Edge and you got Christian. You can separate them. You can put them together. You can have them, you can just have them kind of run wild.
Put them together and give them the tag team titles. Again.
Let
them have the tag team run again.
Here's what I think. I think Edge takes Reigns, main event. Or Edge declares the WWE Championship, the title that he's going for at Mania.
Right.
So that gives Roman. That gives us Roman versus Edge, main event, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Logically, it makes sense. Storyline wise, it makes sense. You take Christian and Big E for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Say you have Christian and Edge both win those titles. Right. Sami Zayn gets involved, distracts Big E. Christian picks up the IC title that way.
Yeah.
Now, you turn around on Friday night, Christian drops the title. Or Christian loses the title, loses it to Sami Zayn or Big E, whichever way you want to go. I would honestly say Big E. Then you have Christian helping Edge. They kind of bring back their thing. Right. Edge loses the title. And then Christian and Edge just kind of run roughshod and take all three tag teams. Right. All three tag team divisions titles. Have them get the SmackDown title. That would be a good exchange. Have Street Profits come out.
Right.
When it was time for that title reign to end, have Street Profits win it. then out of nowhere they show up on Raw and they target Hurt Business.
Right.
Look, I've said I like Hurt Business. I like Hurt Business, not gonna lie. But you can't tell me Edge and Christian working across the ring from the guys in the Hurt Business would not put on some amazing matches.
Oh yeah, it would be good. It'd be a good show.
And I'm saying any of the four of them, put them in there working with Bobby Lashley and MVP and Shelton Benjamin, Shelton and Cedric and MVP, Cedric, like mix and match them.
Right.
Let them all get in there.
Right.
Because every one of them has a different style. But between Edge and Christian, they can work with any style you put in the ring with them.
Yep.
And they're going to make whoever they're in the ring with look good.
Exactly.
Hands down. As we do, as more episodes go on, you're going to learn Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss, Edge, CM Punk, if we ever...
I don't know if we'll see CM Punk in a WWE ring again.
Well, I'm saying, but I mean, like these are names that I will reference or I will compare to Dusty Rhodes, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rock.
Right.
Like that will be my main Ric Flair. I can't leave Flair off of it because no one could do a microphone better than Flair.
No.
But these are the guys that when you look at wrestling, whether it be AEW, whether it be WWE, even if it's New Japan, because there's guys in New Japan that I can compare to guys here in America and be like, they're a mixture of this person or these people put together. Right. Like those are the guys that I compare people to.
Right.
Mainly because the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, early 90s is when they started kind of getting away from the comic booky, gimmicky characters or larger than life superheroes, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior, so on and so forth. Around 93, 94 is when Bret Hart really started legitimizing. And he was a smaller guy.
Right.
Compared to everyone else in the WWE. Yep. He was what they would consider a small guy. He wasn't a small guy at all, but
right.
Size-wise or muscle-wise, he wasn't jacked.
Right.
But he could, bell to bell, he could go. And it didn't matter how long you needed him to go. He could go. And that took, that's talent. And without like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, even Ric Flair, because Rick was not a muscle guy.
No.
You didn't have those three running head of as champions in that time. You don't have Seth Rollins. You don't have Daniel Bryan getting the world title. You don't have Rey Mysterio winning the world title. Eddie Guerrero winning. Like you don't have some of your champions from the last 20 years.
Right.
Winning titles. It just wouldn't happen because that path hadn't been carved out.
Right.
And that's a lot to do with Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. Like without them, I don't think you would have seen Stone Cold or The Rock as champion.
Mm-mm.
Oh well, okay. Let me rephrase that. Rock, I'm almost 100% sure you would have seen Rock as champion regardless because he something special. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That and Bloodline, whole 9 yards.
Right.
But other than that, Austin. Without Bret, there wouldn't have been Austin.
No. Austin came in at the right time because of the Monday Night Wars and everything that was going on. So that kind of solidified Austin's stake in the company because without the Monday Night Wars, I honestly don't think we would have had Stone Cold Steve Austin. We'd have been stuck with...
No. No, stop and think. Because Austin came in while the Monday Night Wars was going on, yes. But he came in as the ringmaster.
Right.
And no one cared.
Right.
And then the curtain call happened in 96, 95, 96. When that happened, Hunter gets in trouble punished because we can't punish Sean. Sean's the champion.
Right.
One out of the group that's left here is Hunter, so Hunter's going to have to eat shit and like it.
Right.
Otherwise, King of the Ring that Austin won in Austin 316 being Triple H's King of the Ring.
Right.
Austin takes a Hunter spots and 316 shirts were taken off, but he wasn't WrestleMania. Bret, all the double turn that was done to perfection.
Right.
Bret Hart becomes a bad guy. Austin becomes a good guy in the middle of a match where everyone could not have even. It would have been hard to believe Bret would ever be a bad guy, but Bret being Bret was able to turn the crowd both ways.
Right.
He took all the heat. Austin had all the baby face. Austin now is on that uprise, and then coming off of the McMahon, or coming off of Austin, you now have McMahon.
Right.
And McMahon finally becomes that. What made Austin was Vince McMahon. Do not get me wrong. Do not take, Vince was the perfect thing to happen to establish Austin as what Stone Cold is. And had it not been for McMahon showing up, the legacy would not be there like it is.
Right.
But in order for Austin to get there, that Bret was the catalyst. Bret was the main catalyst to getting Austin where he needed to be for that.
Right.
And that's why I say that. Austin would have been up there regardless. But that series of unfortunate events, for one, put him in the right place, right time with the right people, and it just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like he got there a whole hell of a lot sooner.
Yeah. For sure.
Now, that's kind of my hot take on why some of these guys, Edge is always going to be in there because Edge could play both sides. He could play that good guy that everyone loves. Then he could play that slime ball that you wish someone would knock him into 3 months from now.
Yeah, as shown with his feud that he had, or the whole stint that he had with Lita.
And okay, so that let's just kind of look at that championship run. I'm not really going in any order on this because it's all about Edge anyways. So why not? So championship is won. We have the highest rated Raw in forever knows how long, with him and Lita doing the live sex celebration.
Right.
Where Lita ends up flashing one of the cameras due to the wardrobe malfunction and sheet movement, and the wind in the arena kind of caught the sheet at the right place, right time, and there was boob. Edge comes out and he's got another pair of panties in his mouth. Now, you take that what led into that was the whole Matt Hardy thing. Edge and Matt Hardy, two guys that legitimately had a real life problem. To go out there and tear the house down the way they did and not hurt each other, that puts them on a whole nother level of just professionalism.
Right, exactly.
Especially with some of the matches, like the Edge and Hardy cage match, and I'm fixing to jump off this cage. This dude down there, is he going to catch me, or am I preparing for a rough landing?
Right. Is this shit gonna hurt, or is this gonna be
Like, am I okay? Or okay, I gotta get suplexed off this ladder.
right?
He's gonna dump me on my head, is he? Like, you're putting a lot of faith in someone that
faith in someone
legitimately, that legitimately wants to beat the dog shit out of you to where you can't walk.
Right.
But now we're on TV. Business is business. What's going on outside of here stays outside of here, and they had some of the best matches.
You gotta hope that what happens outside stays outside.
Yeah, and it did, and I think because of it, it also gave the opportunity for both of them to get it out and heal from it. You took a bad situation, it became a story, it became real life becomes your story, and they were able to take it and they were able to shoot off like each one of them was able to push the other one into a higher playing field.
Exactly.
Based off of a shitty situation that happened in real life,
right,
that tore people's lives apart. So you took a negative and turned it into a major positive. I mean, hell, look at Matt Hardy now. We got big money Matt showing up everywhere.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean,
the Hardys the Hardys and Edge and Christian, they had some damn good feuds in their run.
And the bad part was Edge, Christian, the Hardy Boys were the best of friends. Lita gets involved in the picture. Matt and Lita end up together. Matt ends up injured. Lita's still on the road. One Love's not there all the time, finds replacement in another, and shit happens, and now best friends are friendships are tore apart.
Right.
People get fired because let's not forget Matt got fired because of it.
Yeah.
And then shit just when you're giving shit, you try to turn chicken shit into chicken salad, and this time it actually worked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Matt was still in the WWE, you could have another Edge and Christian versus Hardy's ladder match. Now, it may not be as good as it was because they're all older, but you could still.
Hell, I think it would be. In all honesty, I think it would be. Now, okay, are we going to see the ladder spear? No. Let's be realistic here. Edge has had triple fusion neck surgery. We're not going to see him coming off of a 12-foot ladder with a spear crashing to the ground. Are we going to see, the Hardys seesaw? No. Christian has this bad issue with concussions.
Right.
Like, is things going to be slightly different? Yes. Are we still going to see Jeff Hardy do a stupid dive or bump? God, yes, because he still does it.
Right.
Are we going to see, I think it would reinvent a tag team ladder match. If you had Edge and Christian and the Hardys do it again, they would just do, they would do what they did previously, and it would reinvent a ladder match again.
Right. It would be a different breed of ladder match, but you'd still have the ladder match.
And it'd probably still be a ladder match 10 years from now that people would talk about.
Right. Exactly.
In all honesty. And that goes to show you that goes to show you what caliber superstar Edge is.
Right.
I'm not going to say what Edge was, because look at the Rumble, what he did. He went in at number 1.
Exactly.
At
50 something minutes he lasted.
50 I think he almost set the record. He set the record for Rumble, but not overall because Daniel Bryan has that thanks to the Greatest Rumble and that 2-hour run.
Right.
But he did set the record. Previously, it was Rey Mysterio at 56 minutes and some odd seconds, and Edge was 58, 38, or 48.
Yeah.
But it was 58 minutes. It was all he was in. But then you take that, okay? He was in that almost an hour, and then he main events Raw the next night.
Exactly. Right.
Randy Orton. He main events Raw with Randy Orton over the course of 2 nights. 2 nights. He was in the ring, in action, for over 80 minutes.
Right.
This is a guy that has not been, that up until last year had not been in the ring for what, 9?
Yeah. It'd been a while.
I think it was pretty close to, I think it was 9, maybe not. Hold on. 2011 is when he went out. So almost.
Yeah, the first
9
time he
years.
stepped in the ring was 9 years.
Yeah, that was the first time he was in the ring. It was the Rumble, and then he had the Rumble match, a WrestleMania match, and then the next event, and he tore his bicep and was out the rest of the year.
Right.
So he had three matches in the ring.
Right. Yeah, and then on top of all that, I mean, he goes into Mania against Randy Orton and
does a street fight that was
for like an hour.
Damn near.
It was like an hour or something, some shit.
Yeah, but like legitimately his first match back, he's in a street fight, and was it pre-recorded? Yes.
Right. But still.
Was it? But still, yeah, exactly. But still, they went almost an hour, I think.
I mean, you got to look at it. Even though the match was pre-recorded and everything, and they did have breaks in between and whatnot, they still lasted. They still were active in doing shit. Because I mean, you got to think.
So here's the thing,
they didn't do all this in one take. You know, they paused and they had to redo it again and redo it and everything like that.
I'm glad you point that out. What we saw was around an hour and 5, hour and 10 minutes.
Right.
What we saw. Now, this was recorded a day or two before Mania.
Right.
This was recorded, which means I guarantee you they were at this for at least 8 hours. Exactly. It would not surprise me if it was at minimum 8 hours.
Right, or more than that.
So you mean to tell me a guy who's not been in a ring for 9 years, 9 years, makes a return at the Rumble in, I think it was the teens?
Yeah.
And goes all the way to the final. Like, I think final 4, final 3. I think he was final 3. Edge, Roman, and McIntyre were the last 3. If I remember correctly.
Let's see.
Pretty sure, because he went out and then Roman went out for McIntyre to win.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, because it doesn't say here where he entered. Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah. But if I remember correctly, that was the order. It was Edge, then Roman, and McIntyre was winner. But he comes in the teens, and I think it was early teens. Like, I'm pretty sure he came out before number 15.
21.
Edge came 21?
21.
Okay, I'm wrong there. He came out later, but he came out at 21 of 30.
Right.
And then he's in the final 3. So, roughly, he's in there 20 minutes, we'll say. 9 years gone. He's in the ring for 20 minutes.
Right. And
then
the reason they did that is they wanted to make sure that he would be able to cope and deal with it and be able to handle it and whatnot before deciding to go and expand.
So you have him in the ring. He does 20 minutes. He looks fantastic. He's Edge. It's not the greatest hits. Well, I mean, it kind of is the greatest hits, but it's not. But it's also the Rumble, so you really don't have much to do.
Right.
So now we're going to Randy Orton. He's going to be one of the marquee matches at Mania. Randy Orton street fight. Man who's been gone 9 years, been in the ring all of 20 minutes.
Right.
Televised 20 minutes. And he does an hour street fight at Mania, which was pre-recorded, put together, but still an hour, and it was pre-recorded with multiple takes. That's going to be almost 8 hours.
Exactly.
Minimum 8 hours. And he went. Like that, if that doesn't tell you what caliber athlete this man is. Now, while he was gone for 9 years, we can't overlook the fact that Edge stayed in shape. Edge was active. He just could not wrestle.
Right.
He had a reoccurring role in Sci-Fi's TV series Haven.
Right.
And then he had a reoccurring role
in Vikings
in the last 2 seasons of Vikings,
right.
And he was in shape.
Right. He stayed in shape.
Like, yeah, he wasn't one of those, oh, woe is me, I'm retired, I don't have to work out every. He was still going.
Right.
Like he was still working out to the best of his ability. Was his cardio what it used to be? Probably not. While he was off, because he didn't necessarily need as much cardio.
Exactly.
But physique and strength, it was all there.
Right.
So it wasn't like a big leap of, oh, I'm going to go back to the ring. I've got to redo my entire workout. No, I just got to work on my cardio.
Exactly. And most of the wrestlers, when they retire, when they're told they can't wrestle again, they just
kind of let it go.
Yeah, they go back to their normal life. They live off their money. They gain a shit ton of weight and everything. And then all of a sudden, the medical and everything changes. They have the surgery, and okay, you're clear to wrestle again, but you need to drop 60 pounds and put on more muscle.
Like there's been a handful that it's not happened to. Austin still is in great shape. Yeah, Austin is still very active.
And if you listen to Austin's podcast, he basically explained. I mean, during one of them, he gave his routine that he does, and he's always he's always at the gym. I think he said he spends like 3 hours at the gym every day.
Yeah. So Austin. Now, granted, he stayed active. Now, there for a little bit when it first happened, he separated himself from the wrestling business just because that's how he needed to cope with it. And then, of course, as things go, he comes back.
Yeah.
Now, so like that's one of those things of, all right, well, we got this, we got that, we got you've got Ed, or you've got Austin who was able to do it. Christian did good. Daniel Bryan, obviously, Daniel Bryan's the catalyst for a lot of these guys that were told, hey, you can't do this anymore.
Right.
Going in back and being like, hey, what would I need to be able to do for me to do this in my terms?
Right.
Now, you also stop and look at it. Edge is in a very small group of people. In fact, I think there's only 2 people that share Edge's experience. Austin and Paige with the necks. I think they all 3 of them had the same neck issue. Same thing happened. Different circumstances, but essentially the same thing.
Right.
Now, could Austin get the surgery and come back? Debatable.
I don't think we'd see Austin, mainly because on top of the neck fusion he also had knee problems.
Well, yeah, and I'm saying, could we see Austin? with the surgeries, yes. Would we? Doubt it, because I think Austin's happy in where he is now.
Yeah.
He's working with the company. He has the show on the network. He has his shows outside. Like, he has a lot of things going on outside of the WWE bubble.
Right.
Then Austin is happy.
Right.
He had a phenomenal career that unfortunately was cut short.
Right. But he made his money, and now he's making money on the side with all the shows and the extracurricular activities that he has with the network on the side. So, Austin, and the thing is, Austin doesn't need the ring.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. Edge necessarily did not need it, but Edge wasn't happy with being told, "Hey, your career's over.
Right.
You can't end this the way that you want to."
Right. He didn't get to go out the way that he wants to go out.
So, does he have claim on why he wants to come back? Yeah.
Right.
If this is something that I made my career on,
right,
that I've put all this time into, for someone to look at me and be like, "Hey, I'm pulling the plug on it because you're not going to."
Right.
Yeah, like, I could tell you, if it was me in the position of him or Daniel Bryan, I would have done the same thing. I would have been doctors. Look, I want it fixed to where I can do this on my terms, not on y'all's terms.
Exactly.
Y'all are not the ones who sacrificed X amount of years of your life doing this one thing. I'm going to end this the way I want to, fix it to where I can.
Exactly.
I get it. Like, that is a whole level of respect that doesn't even have to be acknowledged. You know what I mean? For someone to have that much drive and fortitude to be like, "I've done this much time, I'm ending this the way I want to."
Right.
That's a whole like, they're on a whole nother level of respect.
Right. And then
like, they're on a different football field.
Right. And then after he gets everything done this year, I don't think we'll see Edge in the ring again.
I honestly think that part of one of Edge's promos is very true. Edge has made the statement he's going to do everything that he possibly can to knock off as many checks on the bucket list while his body will let him. Is that going to be a year? More than likely a year. Could it potentially be more than a year? Yes. Do I see it more than 3? No. I honestly think we'll get Edge for 2, at max 3 more, like this year, next year, and maybe the year after. I think Edge will be at the next 3 WrestleManias.
Possibility.
I really do. I think his body. I think his body will hold up, because the guys that he wants to work with, that he plans on doing things with, I don't think he has to worry about stuff going the wrong way.
As long as he doesn't get into another, like, more serious injury or anything.
Let's be honest. He gets in the ring with AJ Styles, unless it's like a freak accident with his bicep and something pops, he's fine.
Yeah.
He gets in the ring with McIntyre, he's safe. The Lord knows if he gets in the ring with Daniel Bryan knows where he's been.
Right.
I mean, he the guys that he wants to work with, I think he'll be 100% fine working with. Now, does that mean that the bumps aren't going to be as bad? No, the bumps are still going to suck ass.
Right.
And they're still going to check the bump card. But is he going to be out doing like outlandishly stupid bumps? God, no. He's going to be doing normal grit and grind.
Yeah, you're not going to see him jumping off a 12-foot ladder and spearing somebody again.
He's not taking an attitude adjustment off the top of the ladder through 3 tables.
Do we want to see that? Fuck yeah, we want to see that. Are we going to see that? No.
Like it's not going to be the Edge of 2010 in the mid 2000s to 2010s.
Right.
It's not going to be that Edge.
Right.
We all know that.
Yeah,
is there going to be?
If it is that there? Edge, then we're not going to see Edge again.
Yeah. But stop and think about it though. Edge started his career and he was that mysterious character, didn't talk a lot, and then we had Edge kind of breaking out and showing personality, and then we had the ultimate opportunist Edge, which is the Edge that most people remember a lot because that was half of his career right there.
Yeah.
Now, stop and look at the Edge that we have now. I believe this Edge is, while yes, we say it's Edge, I honestly feel like this is Adam Copeland in real life just turned up.
Yeah.
Like, it is a different Edge. It is an evolution of Edge. Right. This is the natural Edge. And I will honestly say what I've seen so far, I absolutely love. Again, hands down, probably one of my favorite, Edge for me, Edge is one of my favorites. And I have quite a few, but for different reasons, depends on what you're asking what my favorite is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have difference depending on that.
Right.
Edge all around. He is one of my favorites. And as much as like I absolutely hated seeing what happened to him, back in 2011. Right. He finally retains his World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania to have to come out the next night and be like, I have to retire.
Yep.
Like that sucks. Like, I remember watching that WrestleMania, like, yes, he finally kept that title.
Right.
He went into Mania and he kept the title. All right, we're good. He got his championship win at Mania. We're going to get a good run. He's not a bad guy. People like him. It's okay to like him. Wait, he's got to retire? What? Yeah, I get this numbness running down my arm. I can't really feel. And oh, God, that's okay. That's serious.
Right.
Well, at least you get to go out on a high note. You got a Mania win. Hey, Take it. All right, cool. But then to see him come back, and this is like what I feel like this Edge is the Edge we would have got then, with a little bit more age and wisdom.
Right.
And I think it's perfect. Again, like I said, I really do. I do hope in this return, I do hope we get an Edge and Christian run. I'm not saying, oh hell no to that, because it's Edge and Christian, dude.
Right. That would be a good run.
Now, I would love, like I said, I'd love to see it. I'm not going to shoot down the idea of Edge and Christian and tag team championship run. Hell, I just booked them to win all 3 tag titles WWE has, and they don't even like tag team champion. They don't even like tag team wrestling.
Fuck it, let's do this. Just have Edge and Christian win the Raw tag team champs, the SmackDown, and the NXT all at the same time.
I mean, I would. Hell.
And then at the next Mania, you can have like a massive.
It's just an Edge Mania.
You just have You just have one big ass.
It's not.
And have every fucking tag team in the organization in this match, and they'll defend all 3 of them in one match at the same time. And the first team that wins, gets
here it is. Here it is. Here it is. You have them win all the tag team titles. You're going into Mania. Instead of taglining at WrestleMania Hollywood, WrestleMania Edge took over.
Right.
Bam.
Put every fucking belt on him. Edge. It's just all Edge. Every match of the night is Edge. Defending the tag team titles, defending all the championships. Fuck it.
And the sad part of it is, it'd probably be one of the best Manias they've had in the last 10 years.
He'd fucking retire that night. He'd come out after everything is said and done. It's like, yeah, I'm retiring, guys.
And see, I can legitimately say it'd probably be one of the best WrestleManias in the last 10 years, because this is what, 37 this year?
Yeah.
So that would be 38, which means both the Hunters, both the Shawn and Taker matches are gone, and both of the Hunter Taker matches are gone. So it really would be probably one of the best Manias in the last 10 years.
Right. Oh, man. You know, one group that I remember Edge in mostly that I actually enjoyed was the Brood. When he came out with Christian and Gangrel and that whole storyline. You know, when Gangrel come up and said, you know, he tried to get Edge to join the Brood. Edge wouldn't join, and then he turned around and was like, well, I got a way to make you join. He's like, here, let me introduce you to your kayfabe
Here's
brother.
your brother.
Here's Christian. And he's with me now. And now you're going to be fighting against him. I like the Gangrel storyline.
Like I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I thoroughly liked it. It was one of those things that looked good. Cosmetically, it looked good.
Yeah.
You know, it was that was one of those stories that was very well done.
Right.
It's also one of those that was a very good catalyst for everyone.
Yeah.
Because you also got to stop and think that was where Edge, or that's where the Hardys came from.
Right. Exactly. When the Brood broke up, when they beat the shit out of Gangrel, and then he decided to form the new Brood and took on the Hardys instead.
Yes.
And that started the Hardys and Edge and Christian feud.
Yeah, exactly.
And whatnot.
So like there was some good things that came out of that.
Right.
You know. Rightfully so, and it should have. So, I mean, that's one of those things you've got to stop and look at. I personally like the whole ENC, the Edge and Christian, the pose, the 5-second pose.
Right.
Like that was my favorite Edge. He was kind of like a doofy airhead goofball.
Right.
But when the bell rang, he get down to business.
Right.
So that was probably one of my favorite Edges. I mean, besides, you know, Rated R Superstar, the ever so opportunistic Edge. Right. Like that Edge is synonymous. The first championship where he wins it at New Year's Revolution after Cena had been in, I think, the first Hell in a Cell, or not Hell in a Cell, first Elimination Chamber match.
Right.
Cena retains the title. He's all bloody, and out comes Edge to cash that sumbitch in, and spear, 1, 2, 3, Edge is the champion. It's happened. Hell has froze over.
Right. Yeah, speaking of Edge and Christian, I remember when they had their little podcast and everything. Like one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, one of the wrestling groups, one of the guys that's on in there was actually on their show one time. I have to see if I can find the video and send it to you. But it was he had done like a live reaction or something to something that had happened in an event, and
Yeah.
Edge and Christian saw it on YouTube and invited him out to be on their podcast, on their show.
Yeah.
So he actually got to go and do it. And then one of the things that they did was they did like an entrance, like guess like whose entrance that is or something. I think like Edge and Christian came out and they were doing like different
Entrances. Yeah.
Oh no, what it was when AJ debuted in the Rumble
Yes.
and everything, and that's what it was. They saw his like live reaction that he did to AJ Styles when he debuted in the Rumble that year. So I'll have to go back and see if I can find that video.
And that's the thing. Edge gets sidelined, and then we get an Edge, and then Christian gets sidelined, and then the wrestlers start doing the podcast thing, and Edge and Christian are like, hell, why don't we do it? We're pretty funny.
Right. Exactly.
And they had a good podcast. I subscribed to their podcast. I listened to it regularly. Again, one of the influences for me wanting to do a podcast.
Right.
You know, between the Edge and Christian the Pod of Awesomeness is what it was called.
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thomas. There's something to wrestle with. 83 Weeks. The Orange Show, Taz, when Taz had his podcast before he turned it into a radio show. Like these are podcasts that really, and of course the Godfather of wrestling podcasts, Colt Cabana's The Art of Wrestling.
Right, and then you get the Steve Austin show.
Yeah, then Steve Austin came out, and there was a Steve Austin show, and then there's
the Ross
Report, which are really. Yeah, well, which turned into Grilling with JR, which is still a good one. You had Tony Schiavone's What Happened When.
I think Mick Foley had one too.
I don't know if he did or not. I know Rick did. Ric Flair had one.
Yeah.
It didn't. I mean, Ric Flair's didn't go very long. Rowdy Piper had one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, Piper did Piper's Pit.
Right.
That was the last year before he died. He did He was doing a podcast.
Yeah, he turned his in-ring talk show into an actual podcast.
And like, you know, these and a lot of these are still going. Like the Orange Show, any of Conrad Thompson's podcasts, they're still going.
Yeah.
You can find them on all major podcasts, and I think they also have a Patreon where they have a site. I think it's ad-free shows.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch. It's all of their podcasts with no advertisements, video and audio, as well as some that aren't public, like other little side projects that aren't published on podcast platforms. And it's not a bad thing. Listen, to hear mansplaining is hilarious. Essentially, they get Mance Warner, who is an independent wrestler from Tennessee, and he sits down with people's wives, girlfriends, significant others that are in the business.
Right.
Like these guys, the guys are in the business, and these are the wives, girlfriends, or other significant others that don't really understand things. And essentially, he sits down and watches some of the most stupidest gimmick matches possible, and he explains them in his words. It's fucking hilarious. The very first episode was Chamber of Horrors, from which was Halloween Havoc 92, I think 91, 92.
Yeah.
Essentially, they electrocute Abdullah the Butcher in the very first match of the show. And to hear him explaining this
Right.
to this wrestler's significant other is absolutely hilarious. So I mean, you know, and these are also people I looked up, or I still look up to when it comes to the podcast format. So one day, hopefully, we're at that on that platform where we're like, hey, we got a Patreon with all of these different shows with that's hosted by different people.
Right.
Go check it out. You know that that would be pretty cool.
Right.
But it's baby steps. We're getting there. We're growing. I'm very proud of it. But you know, again, I roll that back into what we're actually talking about. Edge is told you can't do this anymore. Christian then receives the same thing within a year, and they start a podcast because you know what, we very much enjoy wrestling.
Right.
We can't do it in the ring, so we're still going to be a part of it in some way. But you look at Edge's career up until the point of him being told he had to retire, and you probably have one of the. I'm almost positive he holds the record of amount of tag team championships, because I think he had 3 or 4 different partners.
Yeah, he had quite a few.
Randy Orton, Christian, Rey Mysterio. I think he even won them with Big Show. I'm not 100% sure on that one, though.
Not sure. I mean, anything is possible back. Let's see. Christian.
Let's see. Championships. Okay, WWE Tag Team Championships 2 times with Rey Mysterio, 1 time with Rey Mysterio, 1 time with Jericho. Tag team when they were WWF Tag Team Champions, 12 times total. So 14 tag team championships total.
Right.
7 times with Christian, 1 time with Hulk Hogan.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Yep. 2 times with
The name
Benoit.
we should not mention, Chris Benoit.
1 time with Randy Orton, 1 time with Jericho. So he held the tag team titles twice with Jericho. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 different tag team partners he's had. You know.
Right. Yeah, you're thinking when he teamed up with Big Show, you're thinking of the bragging rights trophy.
Yeah.
Because he teamed up with Big Show, Rey Mysterio, Jack Swagger, Alberto Del Rio, Kofi, and Tyler Rex.
Yeah, who actually, side note on Tyler Rex, just apparently revealed to the world that he is now a female.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which, I mean,
more power to you.
No, I was going to say there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's one of those things that I give him all of the applause in the world, because that takes.
We commend your bravery.
Yes.
In this day and age, because with all the hate and bigotry that's going on and whatnot, the fact that you can come out and declare that, hats off to you.
And he is. He's been married for 13 years, and his wife is in full support of this. Like, that is amazing, all on its own. You know. But like, let's take a minute and look at the championships. So he's got 4 WWE championships, 7 World Heavyweight, which would also be the Universal title now. the Intercontinental Championship 5 times, United States Championship, 14 tag titles, the 2001 King of the Ring, the 2005 Money in the Bank. I thought he won back-to-back Money in the Banks.
Doesn't look like it. Looked like just one.
Oh no, he cashed in 2 different Money in the Banks, but he only won the first. Yes. So 2005 Money in the Bank, 2010 he was on the team for bragging rights. Two-time Rumble winner in 2010, and of course, as we all know, this year as well, 2021, exactly 11 years to the day that he won the first one.
Right.
The 2005 Gold Rush tournament, championship chase tournament in 2008. He's 14th Triple Crown champion. He is the 13th overall Grand Slam under the current format. 4-time Slammy Award winner. He won in 2008, couple of the year with Vicky Guerrero. The O-Snap Meltdown of the year 2010, where he destroyed the Raw GM computer. Return of the year in 2020, and Rivalry of the year of 2020 with Randy Orton.
Right.
And the most important one of them all, he is also in the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012, the year after he was told he had to retire.
Yep.
As far as Wrestling Observer newsletter, he got 2002, Tag Team of the Year in 2000 with Christian, Worst Feud of the Year 2010 with Kane, and worst. This is probably my favorite one. Worst Worked Match of the Year in 2008 with Vladimir Kozlov and Triple H at Survivor Series.
Wow.
Yes, that happened. It is a thing, and it is horrendous to watch. Now the PWI, he got Comeback of the Year in 2004, Feud of the Year in 2005 with Hardy, 2006 with Cena, Match of the Year in 2000 with Christian, the Dudley Boys. Essentially, the TLC match at WrestleMania 2000 was Match of the Year in 2000.
Yeah.
Match of the Year 2001, TLC 2. TLC 2. No. Was the first TLC. The WrestleMania 2000 was the triple ladder match. Was the triangle ladder match. TLC was the first one. The first one was at WrestleMania 17. That was at 2001, and that was also Match of the Year that year. Most Hated Wrestler of the Year in 2006. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year in 2001. And ranked number 2 in the top 500 in 2007. Of course, he's also part of the Lou Thesz Hall of Fame. He was the recipient of the Lou Thesz Award in 2013.
Right. And add on top of that the fact that he's also
CBS Sports recognized him Best Moment of the Year, Promo of the Year, and these were all 2020. He's part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. He's Men's Wrestling Award of 2013.
He's also the only one to win a Rumble after retiring. Or a Hall of Fame, sorry.
Yeah, after being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
He also has a interesting little thing. There was a Luchas de... Essentially, the Lucha Libre terms, hair versus hair. He does have a record in that. Which happened in a place not that far away from me in Nashville, Tennessee. Edge won, which was his wager was his hair, against Kurt Angle, who also wagered his hair. Loser was shaved, bald, and that was in May 19th, 2002 at Judgment Day, which again took place in Nashville that year. I was actually almost at that event, and I really wish I would have been. But yes, and that's just some of the championships and achievements
Right.
That's not even talking about, you know, like he's got some tag team championships he's won in Insane Championship Wrestling. He's got some from Canadian, or he's got a title from the Canadian Wrestling Association. We just kind of covered the awards and the WWE titles, but he was also nominated in the Golden Maple Award for Best Actor in a TV series broadcast in the U.S. for Haven.
Right.
In 2015. He did not win, but yeah, I mean, he was nominated. That's pretty good. He was featured in a music video in 2014 called "Destroy" by In Flight Safety. Essentially, he played his character from Haven.
Right.
TV wise, of course, while he was in WWE, he was part of Weakest Link, TV Total, Ministry of Mayhem, Mind of Mencia, Deal or No Deal, Mad TV, and Sanctuary, which I think Sanctuary may have came right after he was retired. But you know, a lot of those like Weakest Link, Mind of Mencia, Deal No Deal, Mad TV, those were all WWE themed things,
Right.
where they had him involved in it. He was also in Haven, where he had a reoccurring character from season 2 through 5. He's in a total of 42 episodes. He plays himself in Ghostmine, which was in 2013. He was in The Flash. He was Atom Smasher, which I do remember watching him in The Flash. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was in Private Eyes, Bookaboo. He was himself in Bookaboo. Vikings, he was in season 5 and 6, 25 episodes. And then he was also part of Undertaker's Last Ride documentary. And he is apparently doing a voice for the Trailer Park Boys animated series.
Wow.
So that'll be interesting. He's been in, of course, movies. He's been in Beyond the Mat. You kind of like briefly see him in one of the scenes. He was part of Highlander's End Games, WWE's Breaking the Rules with Jamie Kennedy, I think. The movie in 2015, it was a short movie, Dumb Luck. 2016, he was in Interrogation, which was also, I believe that was also a WWE studio film, because it also had Lana in it. And then in 2020, he was in Money.
And overall, he's had an illustrious career.
He really has. I mean,
and still got plenty more to go, apparently.
When he started, he started wrestling. He's been married twice. He was married to Val Venus's sister, that later ended in a divorce. Then there was the infamous affair with Lita.
Right.
That was that everyone knows about that. And then he is currently married. Well, he was also married to someone else when the whole Lita thing was going on, which was also one of those things that was kind of hinted at. But then it was later revealed in like 2012, 2013, that him and Beth Phoenix had potentially been dating, and then they ended up married, and they have two daughters. They got married in 2016 is when they got married. But they have 2 daughters, which everyone has heard that Edge mentioned both their names. There's Lyric and there's Ruby. He's had an amazing career.
Yep.
Even up until the return in, his return.
Right.
Like, he's been featured in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 30. 6. He's been featured in 37 of the WWE's video games. The first one being WWF Attitude back in '99, all the way up until their recent one of Battlegrounds. He's been in WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Then it switched into WWE 12, 13. Then he was in 2K14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We won't talk about 20 because that one probably should have never been made.
With everything that was going on, they should have just left it.
Nightmare. I still have nightmares from that game. So sad.
It actually popped up somewhere as being on sale. And it was like dirt cheap.
I was going to say,
yeah, I'm not even going to mess with it.
Listen, I'm going to be 100% honest. Just 100% honest. 100% transparency here. It'd have to be $5 for me to buy it.
Yeah, I think it was like $10 or $15.
And I mean, like, the digital deluxe better be like at most $20.
Yeah.
Like, that was. That game, it was rough.
Yeah.
Dude, and I've been through some of the worst times in 2K whatnot. I don't think it can get any worse than 2020.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's WWE. Give them time.
I don't. Again, I don't think it can get.
Give them time.
I don't think it can get any worse than 2020, and that wasn't WWE's fault.
Right.
That was. They dropped it all the way around.
See, 2020. I mean, they had to start. The thing is, you can't blame COVID for that one. You can't blame COVID because that dropped in 2019.
It was released in 19.
Right. That means that thing was in production from early 2019 to end of 2018 was when it was in production. So you can't sit there and say, "Well, it's because of COVID that we didn't do it." I mean,
no,
that's all bullshit.
I 100% agree with the choice of, like, last year we didn't have a 2K.
Right. Because of COVID.
No, not because of COVID, because of 2K 2020.
Oh.
Like, they decided they were going to skip a year.
They need to change some stuff up, is what they had to do.
Now, 2020, they did also lose Ukes, because Ukes had been a big part of helping develop the 2K series.
Right.
Which Ukes is a very big component there in that game. But they lost Ukes, so they had a new partner. Ukes has been in wrestling games for God knows how long now. Ukes, about the time that they announced that 2K had started working on 2K20, Ukes had posted job things for a potential new wrestling game that they were in works with, which we've now learned is the AEW game.
Right.
Because they are part of the development team on that game. The real thing that hurts the 2K games is we all want a GM mode. Guys, we want a GM mode. We don't want some stupid universe mode. We want a GM mode like we had in 2006.
Right.
Like, that's the one thing we've been screaming for, I don't know, 10 plus years now. Just, roundabout. We're not going to get technical on it. About 10 plus years.
Right.
Give us a GM mode. Give us an online GM mode.
Right. Give me what I want is like I believe it is GM mode, but give me the option to go in and set the card myself and start the feuds myself. And
wow. So okay. And here's the thing. So yes, that GM mode did that, but Universe mode also does that still, where you set the card, you set the matches, you set the feuds. GM mode was legitimately Raw, SmackDown. You were the general manager for one. Your buddy could pick up and play the other one.
Yeah.
You hired the talents. You set the feuds, you booked the card, and your whole purpose was to beat the other brand in ratings.
Right.
Give us a damn GM mode. I mean, it's not that hard. You've got Universe mode. Just fucking split it off of that.
Right.
It's not going to take a lot of development.
All right, so looking at Steam right now, okay? 2K18 is $60. This was released in 2017. Okay. 2K19, released in 2018, is $60. 2K20, released in 2019, is its price slashed to $14.99 right
now. Standard edition.
$15. Standard edition, $15.
Too much.
Right now, okay, this sale ends on February 18th. It's a 75% off sale right now.
Still too much.
So what exactly was wrong with it that you didn't like?
Oh, dude, that game was broke. Like that game was just, it shipped broke.
I wonder if they made any improvements to it.
So here we go. One of the issues was in like the Creator Wrestler or the Creative Superstar, and you could edit superstars.
Yeah.
Their facial parts, like their hair would be 5 feet off their head.
Oh damn.
Their eyes would be up in their forehead. And it was so full of glitches. It wasn't even fun. One of the funniest glitches I'd seen was in the women's Evolution story thing that they had. The match with Charlotte and Becky.
Yeah.
Like, the ref glitches out and starts going through Charlotte and Becky both, and like gets stuck with his pelvis region in Charlotte's head, and it looks like he's just like the ref is literally thrusting through Charlotte's head.
I'm looking at the reviews on here.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! I'm thinking maybe they changed something.
No.
Maybe they did something to fix it since it released in 2019 and we're in 2020. And I'm looking at the reviews from like within the last 30 days, and they're all just like negative.
They didn't do shit to fix it. Not shit to fix it. Everything that was supposed to fix it did not do shit.
This game is crap. This game is crap. This game is crap. Crashes, buggy, one word garbage.
Now, so there was actually multiple reasons going into why they didn't do a 2K21. One was 2K19 had a big debacle.
Right.
It ran fine on the Xbox, ran fine on PC, ran fine on the PlayStation. But you could not play that game on a Nintendo Switch. Like, that game, it was unplayable on a Nintendo Switch.
Right.
So that was the first debacle the year before. And then they released 2K20, and it just didn't work on anything. Like, it was just all around broke.
Wow.
And, like, I've played every game in that series from SmackDown on the PlayStation. Like, did not miss a single one of them. In fact, bought most of the collector's editions. Even when they weren't good, I enjoyed them. I took this fucking game back within 3.5 weeks. I took it back. I was like, I went to the dude that I know that works at GameStop. I said, this fucking game is broken beyond shit. And I even waited for the first big update, which was when they came out with the whole Halloween stuff. Fiend was brought into the game.
Right.
I pre-ordered because of the Fiend. I didn't get the Fiend until 3 weeks after the game came out. Hello, that's a big issue.
Right.
He's your pre-order bonus, but he's not going to be available until Halloween Day. Oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
At that point, just don't make him fucking DLC, or don't make him pre-order bonus. Make him part of the DLC that I bought the season pass for.
Right.
That's not a pre-order bonus. A pre-order bonus is something you get when day one of the game, but you get it because you pre-ordered the bitch.
Right.
Debacle 1 right there. No real pre-order. Debacle 2. They never fixed the fucking game.
Right.
Like, I tried. I wanted.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop. Even then, I'm not gonna drop $15 on a game that's buggy and broke.
I was gonna say, if you go and drop money on one, drop 15.
Yeah, 19 right now is $60, and that's not in my budget, so I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
I've got one of them. I don't even know which. I got one of them on the Xbox that I could probably break out and play.
Oddly enough,
desperate enough to play.
I have 2K16 on Steam.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you how into these games I was, I own one on Steam. But running back to Edge and what we were actually our topic for the evening. Edge made his big return in 2020. Surprise entrance in the Rumble.
Right.
After being told, hey, you're not ever going to do this again. So that was a big thing. Unfortunately gets injured third match in to the return, which is kind of that was kind of sad. Won't even lie.
Right.
But he, instead of surprise return this year for the Rumble, he announces he's going to be in the Rumble, and he comes in at number 1 and goes 58 minutes and some change.
Yeah.
Wins the Rumble. Minutes. Yeah. Wins the Rumble, which was a very, very big deal because that puts him, he's a 2-time Rumble winner. He's one of few guys to go in at number 1 and win it. So there's another achievement for the Rumble.
And the only Hall of Famer to win it.
He is the only person to win it after being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
All in all, like, it's almost storybook, you know? Being told, hey, you're not going to be able to do this, to return, to enter one of the big fours and win from number 1.
Right.
He now has his pick for Mania, which we've covered. Honestly, I see a championship reign this year with Edge. I really don't think anyone argues that point.
We'll see. I mean you got to look at it. We didn't get the retirement from The Undertaker that we wanted. but we're gonna get the one from Edge that we want.
Yeah. Like, that was kind of like a give and take.
Yep. All right. We're going to go ahead and give the go home on this one. Let's talk about our schedule real quick. I forgot to update this. Go ahead and take that off. All right. So we come back next Monday on the 15th, right? It's 7 days. Yeah, that's the 15th. We will be doing our podcast dedicated. Can't talk today. You can't talk today. Talking is not in our.
Words are hard, guys.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Yes.
Words are hard. Doors are complicated.
Right. We will be doing our podcast dedicated to the memory of Brody Lee. His span, his career. We may even touch on where AEW is going right now, because his son is on every show now, so that's something that's taking place. 222, we come back, we start our Mania kickoff. I think. Is that Mania? No, it's just a podcast dedicated to Undertaker.
Essentially, yeah, that's also going to be our Mania kickoff.
Yeah, kickoff with Undertaker. 3-1, we talk about The Rock. 3-8 is Triple H. 316 is the one and only Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know that's 8 days after the Monday podcast, which is a Tuesday. The reason we did it is because it's 316, Stone Cold Day. 322, we touch on Hogan and Savage in Mania. 329, we touch on Bret Hitman Hart. 4-5, we conclude Mania podcast with Shawn Michaels. And then 412, we recap and review WrestleMania 2021.
The 2 nights.
The 2-night spectacle.
And the week, you also forgot to mention, the weeks that we're doing the individuals, there will be a bonus podcast those weeks where we review matches from Mania with those individuals.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, featuring those individuals. I don't want people to think that we're going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin on the podcast. We've not got there yet, folks, but one day, hopefully.
I'm trying. I'll reach out to him on Twitter and see if he's available. I'm sure for a nominal fee he'll be available, but I mean...
Yeah. We ain't got there yet, guys. We're working on it.
We're not that famous
yet. Bear with us. We're working on it.
Right.
Well,
yeah, this is actually the furthest we've ever been in advance in regards to the podcast.
I like it. I enjoy it, and I'm glad we're kind of gives us that we know what's ahead of us thing, feel. So
that we do.
But
on that note, we're gonna go ahead and give the go home. This thus concludes another episode of SAP Wrestling. Again, I am one of your hosts, 617, spelled just as it is down here. 61 is normal, 7 is spelled SEV3N. You can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I think that's about it for me. Puppet, I'll kick it on over to you.
I am Puppet Master. Puppet, you'll hear me called many names. You can find me on twitch.tv/PuppetMaster2191. You can also find me on Twitter. That's going to be PuppetMaster219 because they would not let me use the last one. And of course on YouTube you can find us at SAP Wrestling, as well as my personal YouTube, which currently has nothing on it but a few clips. Quick clips, nothing major, like 16-second clips. So not really anything on my YouTube. Major stuff on the SAP Wrestling YouTube. That's where all of our video formats can be found. And saying that, let me also say, if you are watching us here on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yep.
And there's now more to this. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, leave us a review. It helps us.
Yep.
And let us know what you think. You know, that's what we're here for. We're here for y'all to listen to.
Yep.
And which means we want to talk about things that you want to hear us talk about. So feel free, drop us recommendations, things you'd like to see us cover, events you'd like to see us cover, stuff of that nature.
Yep.
So, you know, that being said, I think that covers everything except for my shameless plug, guys. Rogue Energy, check out Puppet Master. 10% off. 10% out at checkout with code Puppet Master.
For Rogue Energy.
Yeah, so Rogue Energy, really good stuff. Ask 6, he's hooked on it.
Yep, I gotta get some more. I'm out. I may do that later.
Oddly enough, I think someone ordered me a starter kit.
Nice.
Yeah. So I may finally be getting Rogue Energy for me to actually tell you what I think about it.
Well, there you go.
Anyways, with that, I think I've said all of my parts of stuff. I do believe 6. Did I miss anything? If I did, tell me now.
Covered everything. So on that note, we are going to sign off, and we will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.